Hello everybody and welcome to Haylett RV. My name is Josh the RV Nerd and I am delighted to be able to bring the very first of this trailer in the nation to you today. This is the all-new 30BHS Keystone Cougar. It's a brand new floor plan to the Cougar lineup. And folks, she's a winner. It's a winner, baby. So what they did here is they took the 25 RDS Cougar fifth wheel, and frankly, they just slapped a couple bunks on the back of it. And as unceremonious as that sounds, it's actually a really good description of this thing. But it's the way they executed it so well. They dressed it up. They really gave it an awesome look inside. You have that light bright Cougar decor that you've really come to expect. We're completely carpetless. The bathroom on this is very large, and of course up front we have that king bed, but it's in the back. The way that you have a pair of wide open, readily accessible double over double bunks, but there's a little secret in the sauce of those bunks that I'm gonna show you in a little bit here, because there's not much that this floor plan doesn't do very well. Now, a couple housekeeping notes. You might look at this and say, well, I've seen that floor plan from XYZ brand. The very first, given credit where it's due, the very first instance of a floor plan like this, actually, the credit is due to the Cruiser RV company. They've had a couple different variations of things like this, like a private bunk on the back or some open bunks like this, but they're really the ones who started it. But Cougar does this really interesting thing where they say, okay, well, maybe you came up with it first, but I'm gonna perfect it. Sometimes it pays to not be the first guy. Sometimes it pays to see what everyone else has done. And I do also want to give you a couple sort of notes here. And I know this is taking a long time, but this is really important for me to set this up properly. The specific RV we're looking at today is an example of one way that you could build these, but this is actually the final prototype. This is the last thing that is made before these things actually go into an active production model. As such, there are some variances here that will change a little bit when we get to the active production model. There's also some options on here that are very different from how we would normally bring them in at Haylett RV, which is actually kind of cool because in a way, you get to see all of the other stuff that we normally wouldn't do on this one. So I know this has been a long lead-in. I know this has been a big setup. I'm telling you, I'm promising you, it was worth it. Leave me comments. Let me know what you think about this one. I think it is awesome. And man, this one has a way of giving us just some ginormous feels in this space here. I mean, look at the window coverage. So actually, let me get over here. Let me start over here with the window coverage on this. And keep in mind, every window, with the only exception of the window in the entry door, they all open for airflow. Plus, you see things like above that rear bunk, you have a vent up there. And if I bring you over here and give you the point of view, like when you're sitting on the sofa, this is what you're going to see. Did you see that motion light kick off by the entry door? How cool is that, first and foremost? This thing it's got a lot of glass and it's full of class. TV up top there where it's always going to be easy to view, especially if people are walking through. It's kind of up high enough. Got the electric space heat and Tootsie Toaster down there, taking the nip out of the air without burning up your propane. We're going to talk more about the heat system of this when we get outdoors, but Cougars are and have been hot cold camp rated for a couple, 3-4 years now. Like I said, you have a little motion activated light right when you get by the door here, but you can also just turn it on or totally turn it off, whatever really works for you. That's something I seem to be very skilled at doing with my wife. But enough about me. I don't even know where to start because this is a new model. I don't have a normal way around things. I tell you what, where I want to begin is I want to point out a couple differences on this prototype and some from the final production models and some options that we're looking at here that maybe you won't find on some of the way that we're planning to stock them at Haylett RV, and I would love your feedback on these. Man, that looks good back there, doesn't it? It's got all of the eye appeal, the way that they dressed up the bunks. Sorry, back on topic. You're looking at this, I'm going to call it a foot locker, and you're like, I'm supposed to sit at the dining. If you sit on that thing, I ain't going to lie, the table's going to be nipple high, and that's not comfortable for anybody. And it's just way too short for kids, obviously. This was an in-between phase. Remember how I mentioned this is a final prototype. This is the last one. They said, okay, we know what we're going to do before we go into production. There's a couple minor changes that are going to go into this. Originally, that mini bench was actually designed to slide inside of that dinette bench for transit, but they realized it was going to make it way too short to be functional. Although, you're going to see later, that little bench is actually not a bad little footrest in front of the sofa, but more on that in a second. The production models of this will come with a taller bench right there. So if you want to bring that out, you can. And it'll basically be the same height as the rest of the benches. Then when you travel, it'll just sit on top of the table. And I'll give you a sample of that in a little bit. Now, one other quick note. What we're looking at here is technically not the right sofa, but it ain't that. You're looking at it like, what do you mean it's not the right sofa? Okay, so this is a 60-inch wide sofa in this specific camper in this video. Normally, in this floor plan, you're gonna get a 68-inch wide, little bit bigger height of bed. It's one of those almost imperceptible things that's hard to catch sometimes. And the reason I'm mentioning that is when we look at this one, if you look beside the sofa, when I get straight on, you see that gappy space? That's not intended to be there. It's supposed to be a little bit bigger, a little bit wider. So this specific trailer is built and will be sold exactly how we see it here today. But all future copies, I'm trying to set your understanding and your expectations moving forward. Hope you appreciate the little difference there. Okay, so all of that fun stuff handled. Note that we still have that totally free-floating table. And actually, let me ask you guys, I just had an idea. So I said that there's a bigger bench that will be intended to come with these. What if instead of that, you know when you get a freestanding table and sometimes they have those two fold-away guest chairs? What if this camper came with a pair of those? That would be cool, wouldn't it? I think that would be very cool. And personally, I think that's actually the way I would want to go. Ooh, now I got myself wondering if I can custom order some stuff over here. Okay, so the back of this thing. I mentioned they just slap some bunks on the back. That really doesn't do it justice. Like, I love that it has its own little hanging closet over here. Note, too, the bottom bunk. You've got household USB outlets and a light. The top bunk in the upper left. You've got, well, a light above, but household and USB outlets up there. Both windows open for airflow. You have dual privacy curtains. And if you're noticing, these are the darker, like, basically blackout true privacy curtains. They're not the silhouette makers, or as I like to call it, no shadow puppet theater, brother. Oh, man. Okay, so over here, again, standard in this floor plan will be a slightly wider height of bed. I think the way that we're probably going to bring a lot of these in at Haylett RV is with a theater seat, but that may be based on some of your feedback. Which way would you like to see it? Would you like it with a height of bed? Because I think this camper already has enough sleeping capacity. I would personally like it where if I own the camper, if I was mom and dad or grandpa, grandma, whoever over here in this totally carpetless slide out, I would personally want a theater seat where on a rainy day I could kick my feet up. And over here, you see a gas electric refrigerator here. Here. Yeah, I'm saying the word here too much, aren't I? Well, kind of like that height of bed is the standard sofa, the 8 cubic foot gas electric fridge freezer is the standard refrigerator in every Cougar travel trailer. It's great for boondocking because that propane side really sips the battery. You have the option, and I think the way that I plan to bring these in stock, again, partially based on your feedback here, so let me know, I'd like to probably bring these in with a theater seat and a 12-volt compressor fridge. That just feels like, it just feels right to me in this floor plan. But if that isn't the right way to go, I'm really depending on you folks at home to let me know that. And I know that no feedback's 100%. Maybe I'll do some split stocking. I'm not sure. We got plywood drawers down to the floors. I'm done. Hidden hinges on the cabinets. And I love how they threw shelving up there. It doubles your storage space on this. Plus, remember, you do have that dedicated pantry over there. Down below here, we have all sealed edge press membrane counters through the kitchen space. Something I want you to get to see here is you look at it and you say, okay, well, if I'm at the theater seat, I can watch TV. But what about the people sitting at the dinette or the bunks in the back if you're trying to get the kids to settle down for the night? Well, that big double swing arm TV, man, you can swing that around. The only place you're not going to be able to watch TV in this is from the bathroom or the bedroom. I would say outside, but it's got so many windows, you could probably find a place outdoors to watch TV. So we have a very exaggerated vault on the ceiling. I'm not using a barreled fisheye lens or anything like that. You have a standard 15,000 BTU air conditioner system, a quieter Coleman system, and look at all of the vents. Like if you go back through this video a second time, start counting the vents in the ceiling that you see. Plus there's vents behind us still. This is the new AC system in your premium kind of Keystones, like your Cougars, Montana, stuff like that. They've come up with some things in this that, without boring you with a lot of details, because we have a lot of other things to cover on this, it provides more airflow more quietly into the RV. And even though it's the same size air that they've always been using, it just works better. And now this RV has in command, but you don't have to Bluetooth to the thing. You don't have to walk over to the touchpad every time. And in case you're curious, I get a lot of questions on this. It's called a thermistor. That is the temperature sensor that talks to the in-command, which also has climate controls. So you could sit your naked butt in bed if you wanted to and never have to put on pants and crank up the air or turn up the heat, whatever the case may be. Sealed edge countertops in here, just like we saw in the kitchen area. I don't normally open a lot of storage live on camera, but I want to show... Oh, this actually reminds me of something. I'm sorry, I just saw something shiny. So, we are walking on a laminated floor. But if you look at that very closely, you will not see a splinter of wood in that construction. And I'm sorry, I forget to talk about this all the time, so it practically feels new to me. But that is called Keystone's Hyperdeck flooring. People will ask all the time, does it have Azdel? No, this is not an Azdel using product. The thing is, though, RVs that have Azdel in the sidewalls, some of them have it in only half of the sidewall, so half the sidewall is still wood. And almost every Azdel using RV still has wood paneling laminated into the floor. Well, you still, if you're trying to get away from wood, you still have some wood there. So obviously this has a wooden roof. This has wood panels on the sidewalls. But what they've done here is they've used composite layering laminated into their flooring right here. So effectively, you could just dunk the floor in water. And it's about as close to waterproof as you could hope for something in an RV to be. Obviously, if you just completely neglect the trailer, you're going to have problems. But it is lighter weight. We have not been... They've been doing this, by the way, for about 2.5 years. And Cougar was not the first member of Keystone to do it. I think it started in something like Fusion or Outback, and like Passport Bullet started using it about the same time Cougar did. It's been out there for years. It's not undocumented. It's just not a well-known thing. But it's working. Okay, so sorry about that. So this walk-through bathroom here, that might be... some people go, I don't like walk-through bathrooms. Okay, I get it. But the entire reason this exists is because this, especially the bunk slapped on the back, this is a long trailer. And a walk-through bathroom allows them to keep the entire RV a little bit shorter versus a walk-around hallway style bath. Now with that vaulted ceiling and that skylight, we have some sweet headroom there. Sounds like the Dr. Pepper guy. Little sweet love in the headroom. What's that guy's name? Jason? Justin? Something or other. I can't pronounce his last name. Doesn't matter. Clear shower door makes the whole RV look and feel a little bit bigger. A little squeegee or some indoor Rain-X for shower doors can really make a heck of a difference on keeping the streaks controlled there. Now, they didn't make the bedroom any bigger than they had to, but they made it big enough that we still have a 70 by 80 king bed in here. And you're also going to be greeted by one of the other options you have available on these, and I'm open to feedback on this, second factory air conditioner up here. Now, I think the response I'm going to get on that is going to be really varied based on where you camp. So what I would like is if you say one air or two, I would like you to also leave me a note where you live and where you camp so that I can kind of help get a little bead on things. Now, you've got some wide open side stands on both sides here, but something I want to point out is that both of those outlets are pre-wired to an inverter loop. So if you choose to add an inverter or get one of the more advanced SolarFlex packages, you could have those and a bunch of other outlets in this RV live for you. And this one has excellent travel access, but it comes with a caveat. So we are actually still up here in the bedroom. You need to use both doors to have full travel access to this one. So, if you decide, maybe you don't need to get to the bedroom and bathroom, you just got to stop and feed everybody, this is actually a good pit stop kind of camper because the fridge, the pantry, all that stuff is readily accessible. Now, the lights are flickering a little bit because somebody is outside playing with the power tongue jack right now. I'm going to have to go break some fingers in just a second. But you see, the drawer space, all that stuff, easily reached. And I didn't talk about this, but this is a new thing Keystone's done on some of their more premium stuff. The little, basically, it's a lot like how people will install aftermarket, one of those handy, like pulls to be able to close the door. But what's cool about this is also your screen door handle now, basically, the way that works. The other thing I want to show you, two things, actually. I want to make sure you do this right. I want to make sure you don't break anything. That bench basically straps to the top of the table in transit. And I don't know if you noticed it earlier because I didn't specifically talk about it. This has a cargo bunkhouse that is shockingly big. I think you could probably get some bikes in there. It might be a little bit tricky with the handlebars. Like maybe you got to pop a front wheel off, but especially like a folding e-bike or something. Oh yeah, all day long. Not to mention, dude, on a rainy day, oh, I'm playing Fort. I'm playing Fort all day long. I'm going to pull that privacy curtain. That's going to be my little basement. I'd turn that into like a little miniature game room. I'd have a little, you know, the Nintendo Switch down there. Oh yeah, buddy. Meanwhile, my wife and my kid are like, Dad, can you please come out and spend time with us? I'm like, let's go. Now, there's a bunch of really cool features, both inside and out on this, and some of the things Cougar's doing here are easily missed, but I think are very valuable, important features, like this innocuous black box up here, the Giggy box, named after, I believe, Mr. Brad Giggy, the inventor. At a glance, it's basically a battery disconnect switch, but it also prevents parasitic load from, you know, eating away at the trailer, which I think that is a pretty cool thing. And it also greatly cleans up the wiring on the front of the trailer. No more messy wiring, no more whole ton of relays and stuff like that. Got the magnet holdbacks here. If you look at that marker light, you see that little black thing sticking off of it? That's a camera mount. This is rear and side camera ready. You see that nice aluminum cage work they do in here? We got our auto leveling controls over there, and over here we have our in-command brain center. Basically, instead of common little automotive blade fuses, in a sense, very similar to the idea of the Giggy box, just giving you a superior component. Instead of little automotive blade fuses, this actually uses like bus-style relays, which can handle a lot more juice, and it's all color-coded wiring. And what a good look at the dual air conditioner on this, giving you just maximum airflow. Remember that bedroom AC is an available option, but this is 50 amp standard. And check out the big awning on this thing, clearing both entry doors with ease. Yes, sir. Ooh, big time, new for 22 feature right here. You now have the option, I think they call it the like Ride with Confidence package or something like that. Goodyear Endurance radials plus tire pressure monitoring system. That is an available option now on each and every Cougar floor plan, whether it's a trailer or a fifth wheel, which I think is pretty cool. Now, being fair, I want to talk about towing this thing. You hear 7,200 pounds or whatever. Sometimes you're thinking, I don't know, I got a pretty beefy half ton. This baby's long. This thing is long. Cougar is what I call an ultralight plus. They're never the lightest weight out there. They're not the heaviest, but this baby's long. And, I don't know. It feels like, it just physically looks like a lot for a half ton to tow for me. Now, I acknowledge that the camper is called a Cougar half ton. That is the name of the RV. I don't know that it necessarily needs to be presumed as a towing recommendation all of the time. Now, hidden under those bunks, we've got a cool little mini camp kitchen. Outside utility shower over here is good for more than just like I don't know, pretend sink if you got a little basin. That's great for like hosing the kids down and stuff like that. And this little griddle here, look at the double extension on this thing. I about double extended my knee once, and that put me on the ground. Cougar's over here double extending griddles like it's nothing. But it also locks in place, which is cool. And I like that it sticks out so far so that it's not putting a lot of heat against the side of the RV, which I think is pretty cool. Ladders are standard on Cougars. It is possible. There's a bit of a ladder shortage in the industry at the time of this filming. It is possible we get a copy of this in sans ladder. Both of the rear bunk windows open. We've got reverse travel taillights, a 300-pound accessory hitch down here. And at a glance, you're going, what a bunch of dummies. How are you supposed to get in the baggage door? Did you know a large number of spare tire carriers are actually designed to pivot down and get out of the way like this? And it opens up a very classic feature which seems to maybe be making a bit of a modern RV comeback, and that is what I like to call the junk in the trunk storage system, which makes me ask, what you gonna do with all that junk? All that junk inside that trunk. Now, here's what's also kind of interesting. You notice how that's kind of like a little Z shape right there? Remember that cargo pocket that we were looking at? It passes through into that cargo space. So you actually have two different ways of accessing all of that. It's weird, it's different, it's pretty cool. Now, I mentioned how this is like a bunkhouse version of a 25 RDS. There's one major equipment variance between them, and that is that this comes standard with auto leveling instead of power jacks. The 25 RDS non-bunk version is literally just a little too short to accept a proper auto leveling system. This one obviously does not have that shortcoming deficiency. Little simple cable water docking station there next to your side mount portable solar prep plug there. Hot cold camp rated. People call it 4 seasons. Yes, Cougar achieves that. And a really wild, crazy distinction. Cougar's one of the only travel trailers out there that carries a warranty with allowances for full-time RVing. So the underbelly of this is enclosed, forced air heated. There's forced air heat dumps directly onto each tank. You have tank heaters on every single holding tank. There's radiant barrier layer through the underbelly, up the nose, across the roof. And speaking of upstairs, now another quick housekeeping note I want to point out, again, really related to the fact that this is that nationwide first prototype that just came out here. Normally, every single Cougar trailer or fifth wheel comes with the standard Solar Flex 200 package. It's a 200 watt panel on the roof, 15 amp Victron charge controller that you can Bluetooth and monitor right off your phone. It's lithium capable and friendly. This one, they started building this before the whole Solar Flex platform came in. The specific camper in this video today, it is roof solar ready, but I guess you could say it's built to 2021 specs before Solar Flex became a standard thing when they were still doing the Cougar OTG. But moving forward, every single 30BHS is going to have at least the Solar Flex 200 watt package. And of course, you have the option of going to the 400 or the 600 packages as well. And if you're curious to learn more about those, I'll leave you a link in the video description where you can check those out, or give our team a call and we'll send you a build sheet and you can check current pricing on those, because that seems to fluctuate. What do you think, guys? Like I said, I asked you to leave you some comments, or leave me some comments. Yeah, leave yourself some comments. Anyway, let me know what you think about it. Tell me if all my excitement was justified, or if, I don't know, I've just been out in the sun too much, which also not necessarily untrue. This is amazing. I cannot wait to see the true production runs come in, and of course we have a bunch of them on order coming here to Haylett RV. I just thought it was so cool that we got the very first one for you. So let me know what you think about it, and until next time, remember, we don't do hidden dealer fees, we just do everything else. So take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy Haylett camping, everyone.